Welcome to Freedom Fridays, the first one of 2025. So, as for some of you know who have been around for a little while, some of you don't, I'm going to lay it out. Freedom Fridays is where I actually give you systems and strategy to go with the software. So, Scalability is a software company that leverages technology, AI, automation so that you don't have to do all the work in your business. My whole goal in life was how do I be available to go when God says go and spend my life creating disciples and advancing the kingdom, but still being able to make a ton of money along the way. And so we've been leveraging systems and automation for over 6 years, my own businesses, so we could travel the world and do what God's called us to do while being able to make money as we go. And then we started teaching other people the same thing. When we launched the software company a couple years ago, Scalability, that was to bring in the systems, the automation, the tools so that we could own that and better use it. And so now I didn't want to launch software and be like, good luck with the tech thing and let people get going round and round in circles trying to figure out tech. So Freedom Fridays is where I actually help you with the strategy, creating your customer journey, creating like commitment to this is the way I'm going to do my stuff. And then this is how we leverage scalability in the systems to actually make that work. So I always make this available every Friday for Scalability subscribers to actually join live. We have people in the waiting room right now that are going to start jumping on here shortly. And this is literally me just open Q&A. Where are you at? What are you stuck with? And then how can I get you going this year and moving you in the right direction? So we're going to start letting people in. And then as always, we're going to jump straight into conversation, Q&A, and just start laying out the plan for this year. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We are live on YouTube, and this is always a live Q&A, so feel free to unmute and catch me up. As we go into 2025, where are you guys at with everything? What are we hung up on? And let's talk. Who wants to go first?
You're the only entertainment this afternoon. That's why some of us are here.
Oh, I see how it is. Hey, I'll take it. It's views. Why not?
The football games are over with almost.
That's why I did it at this time on this day, is because there was no other options, so I thought I'd get more people.
Well, we needed a laugh. We needed some entertainment. So thank you, Aaron, for
Absolutely. Glad I
filling
could
in
be of
that
service.
spot.
Glad I could be of service. Larry, we're almost done with all your stuff. What'd you think?
I was impressed. Um, there's a few things I'll get back to you probably
Of
Monday
course.
with some of my thoughts.
Of course.
But I'm excited about it as I go through that lead generation or short video you sent me several times. It's getting and working through some of the stuff that's getting a little clearer and clearer. I
Good.
did for one of my Christmas presents. Kelly Frazier offered to help me with some of the stuff, walk through some of the things. So that was helpful to see how she's using it
Yeah.
and walk through some of that. So it's connecting some dots. So
Good.
that's some
Well,
of
tell
that
us.
for me is like a gag reflex. I mean,
Right.
but I'm overcoming that mindset. So it'll work well. So
Yeah. Well, Larry, tell us who you are and what you do. Like let's kind of put it out there as to what you do so everybody else knows what you do and we can practice saying it out loud.
okay. Well, Larry Tyler, I'm from Franklin, North Carolina, in far western North Carolina in the mountains. Um, I help business owners interpret and translate their cash flow, their numbers, into something that's simple, practical, easy, actionable, allowing them to make better decisions, um, learn more about their cash flow, how it infects, not infects, but affects it can infect their business if it's not done well and properly. I'm like a financial plumber. I help fix the financial leaks and clogs in businesses. So that's about it.
Nice. And he'll be launching a essentially like a cash flow audit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Where essentially you'll be able to book a call with him and he can actually like have a conversation with you, look at your stuff, ask some questions, and then kind of like I do with automation, figure out where you're at and
yeah.
then show you how to plug some leaks where you can go and do it on your own. And then, of course, if you need more, he can help you with that. But
Well,
I'm excited, Larry.
the
I think
key
you got,
to is like yours.
go ahead.
Yeah, one of the keys like you, it's simple. How do we make it simple? Keep it simple.
Yep. He simplifies cash flow. I simplify systems. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
Well, Larry, I'm excited to watch your offer
thanks.
come about because I feel like it's a good offer and I feel like we got a good flow to everything.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
and on here, I'm all about like the strategy and the automation and the systems. How are you building stuff to actually run? And that's what I want you guys to get out of Friday. So, for Larry's business specifically, I I'm going to do this with people because I want everybody to know what you guys do. I want you to get better at pitching it, right? This is where we're going to practice. We're going to actually make stuff work. But then two, going over and over your process, your customer journey of how they come through your business, for you even saying it out loud is huge. A lot of people think I'm just teaching every time I go through the way that I do things. Like I'm sharing what I do to help you understand so you can build it for you, which I am, but I'm also remembering myself, my own process. I'm also reviewing my own process and practicing my own process. So when I say I do this and people go here and then they book this and then I do this and this and this, I'm teaching you guys, but I'm also reviewing that for myself. And so you guys have to do the same thing. You have to review how your business goes, the customer journey. Where are they coming to? Where are you sending them to, etc. So with Larry, he's got a sales funnel. You know, I'm a fan of sales funnels, not just websites. Websites for everybody is the traditional website where there's buttons all across the top and there's social media links and your blog posts and links to everything under the sun that you do. And what happens is most people come to those websites to get information or even to sign up or buy something from you. And then they end up clicking on your Instagram and then they end up watching somebody else's videos on Instagram. And they didn't buy what they came to buy on your website. And so I like to streamline websites to where there's one thing people can do there, and that's it. They can join the community. They can get the free automation audit, the free cash flow audit, whatever that is. And if they don't do that, then they have to leave. Like there's no other option to go watch my videos or connect with me. When you come to this page, it tells you about the thing and sells you on why you need the thing, even if it's free. Okay. So, like with Larry, it's a social media audit. With me, it's an automation audit. Lori, it's going to be joining your community. MJ, it's buy my book and it's connect with me so that we can do deals together or send me your deals, right? Every business, doesn't matter what it is, simplify the front to where people see this is what you do and here's the one thing you want them to do. And then the customer journey is what happens when they do that one thing, right? So when they book the cash flow audit, the automation audit, join the community, get the book, whatever, what happens next? Simple then what exercise I've been teaching for years is then what? Well, that's where automation and the systems come in, right? When somebody opts in, they schedule on your calendar or they buy the book or they buy the community or whatever, that triggers the automation. And automation sends them like a confirmation email and a confirmation text and then tags them in your system in Scalability so you always know how to find them and what they did, right? It's as simple like they come to this page, they do the one thing, and then that triggers an automation. Then what? Right? And if you get used to doing that in your business, then what? Well, then they go to a thank you page. So in Larry's case, it was a question I just asked him not too long ago was, hey, where do you want to connect with people after they get the free audit? Like, where do we want to send them? Because it goes to a thank you page and it's like, hey, confirmed, we got you booked. That's awesome. We'll see you on the call. But now they're on a web page and we don't want to waste it. So you can upsell something or you can tell them to go to the next place or you could build a whole website with a whole bunch of buttons that talks about everything under the sun you do. I prefer to connect with them deeper in one specific way. So Larry's going to focus on LinkedIn. If you guys have been around for any amount of time, you know I'm going to focus on where are your clients at. Larry's going to be working with a lot of business owners. LinkedIn's business owners, right? Like that's just where they're hanging out and they're doing business actively. So on his thank you page, now it's like, hey, we got you confirmed. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And you put buttons that go directly to his profile. So see, the customer journey is it may be social media posts, it could be LinkedIn posts, YouTube videos, a face-to-face connection, whatever. And it's like, hey, go to this website or scan this QR code and go to this website. I give a free cash flow audit. You can go here, you can schedule one right on my calendar. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy anything. You send everybody that one thing. And then when they do that, it triggers the automation that reminds them to show up. And then the thank you page is like, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's go deeper. And while they're waiting on the appointment, they'll start watching your stuff on LinkedIn. And that builds rapport with them while you're not there, right? Because they see your posts and they'll read your posts, they'll watch your videos and stuff like that because they just scheduled time with you. Now they want to see more about you and who you are. And it'll work for anything. So if it's a join my community, like Lori's doing, it's going to send them to a Facebook group or to wherever your community is. Because like they bought, now it's going to trigger an email, trigger a text, and then we want them to go to the community and actually start watching videos there, looking at the posts in the timeline, introducing themselves, getting active in that place. We don't want them to see the Instagram and the YouTube channel and all the other things. We want them to just go to the community and start being active in there. So when you guys are reviewing your businesses this year, like think about that customer journey regularly. And I have it blocked every single Monday on my calendar. I don't take any appointments. I don't talk to people. I don't do anything on Monday. Monday is a planning day. A lot of business owners, a lot of guys in my circle, they do it on Sundays so that they start the work week off like ready to go. I'm very protective of my family and my ministry time on Saturday, Sunday. So I don't do any business on Sunday. So my day is Monday, but every Monday is blocked out where I will go through my customer journey and review it. I'm like, how can I make this better? When they do this, is there anything we could do that would make it better? Last week, this person had a problem with this. Could we fix that this week? Could we change something, tweak something? And if you do it every Monday, it's a reminder for you. You start to get a habit of this is the way it works and this is how I'm making it better. And then you're able to review kind of what worked from the week before, right? And actually put that into play this week. So think about that as we go into this year. I'm not big on setting goals for like, oh, my year goal is this. I'm like, this is what you do. So how do we make it better every single week? Not much changes for me from one year to the next because it's the same stuff. We're just continuing to dial it in. But think about that as you guys go through and create a day where you review it every single week. And it can be daily at the beginning, but yeah, anyway. Okay, Lori, I know you got some questions. Tell me who you are and what you do so that everybody can learn what you're doing,
Okay.
and then we'll jump into that.
Okay. So I am Lori Dusing. I'm a certified health coach, and I help women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond to get up off their couch and take charge of their health so that as they continue to age, they can still run in their 60s and 70s, get down on the floor and play with their grandchildren with clear head and more energy.
Very
That's
nice.
what I do. Okay. So last week, we talked about reels. I researched reels and how to create reels. And I think the cool thing about Facebook reels is that it reaches a wider audience. And maybe you said that stories will just reach whoever I'm friends with. So I'm learning about doing Facebook reels. I recorded some videos like you suggested. And then I went live yesterday in my Facebook group to nobody there, but I talked, it was kind of a welcome video. I watched it back. I learned a couple things because I didn't watch the other videos, but I could see my eyes were down when I was trying to read. And then when I talk, my eyes kind of go up. So I have to learn to look in the camera and talk.
Yeah.
And the first part of it was scripted, but then I just started talking, but my eyes were still up. So that's a learning experience for me. Um, what else? So yeah, I guess my question was about lead generation, right?
Hmm.
And how do I go about getting that? So I'll do some marketing with maybe emails and stuff, but if I keep promoting on my Facebook, my personal page, um, how do I get names to like maybe market to a free challenge
Hmm.
or I don't know
Understood.
if I'll have enough information on my Facebook for people just to join
Yep.
the membership.
Understood. So this is a good question because everybody struggles with this, and it's something that a lot of people don't understand. The commitment to a process is most important. And whether you have a bunch of money or not determines how you're going to do that part. Because if you have a bunch of money available, then you're going to just start running ads. Because I say a bunch of money because you need to run a minimum of $1,000 a month for the next 6 months just to get data to gather information so that you can go back and look at them and go, these are people that opted in. Now I have a list and I can start remarketing. If you don't have that, it's going to be more organic. So I'm a fan of most people are on the organic. Like I don't have enough money and time or know-how to just dump into a bunch of ads and spend the next 6 months trying to figure out the content of those or the data of those ads and then make it work. So the referral method or social media, things like that, is more of a organic method that will be slower and has a little bit more manual work to it, but you can do it every single day for the next year and it won't cost you a dime until you're actually sending emails or doing the things, right? But to collect the information, it just takes this is the work of talking about your thing, partnering with people, being in the right places. So, a strategy that I like to use, well, so let me take that back. There's multiple ways to get information, and public information is there for anybody, right? So, let's say there's a Facebook post and somebody actually says, put your email below in the comments below, and I'll send you this free thing. And then 200 people put their email addresses in the comments below. You're in that Facebook group. You could go through and take the first name, last name from the person's profile and the email address that they put in the comments, and you could move it to Scalability manually and create a list of 200 people from those comments because they posted their name with their profile and their email in a public comment in a public forum. And so you are a part of that public forum, which means you legally have access to public information that they put out there to be contacted at, right? So you can take those 200 people and pull them over. It's basically called scraping Facebook groups or scraping public data. If you needed, say, real estate agents, right? You could go to Zillow.com and at the top, there's an agent finder. You poke in agent finder and it's got name, phone number, email for like every agent in the entire area. That's all public information. You can pull all that information and put it into Scalability, and now you have a list and you can send them to. So the big part is, where are your people hanging out? And this is that part of that customer journey I was saying, right? We have to know we're trying to get this certain type of person, and I want them to come to this. Like you said, the challenge, the free Facebook group, the webinar, whatever it is, the social media audit, whatever it is. You want people to come to that. And then there's a process. So on the front side of that, there's also a process. How do we get people to it? And where are they hanging out? So identifying your ideal client, like Larry's, they're going to be on LinkedIn. So if Larry goes to LinkedIn every day and just connects with people, there's certain ways you can filter LinkedIn to where it brings up like companies that are doing X amount a year or CEOs or only the founders or something. Like you can filter the people that show up and then you start sending DMs. And there's groups actually like Facebook groups on LinkedIn, which I didn't realize because LinkedIn's not my jam. I don't spend a lot of time there, but they do have groups there, just like Facebook groups. So you can actually join the groups where your ideal client would be hanging out. So Lori, yours, you said women in their 60s.
40s, 50s.
Okay, so 40s and 50s that are trying to get up off the couch and be more active. So yours is going to be primarily Facebook, is where a lot of them are going to be, right? So something you would do is go into Facebook and search for groups where you know those ladies would be hanging out. So if your ladies are after, say, they're interested in like getting control of their health, they're probably in some groups already that are talking about those things.
Okay.
So you can search for groups. I'll use one that I'm familiar with more because I did real estate for a long time and we started in there. And I've used this method for years on Facebook and taught it. We were targeting wholesale real estate investors. So people that wanted to get into wholesaling real estate. And that was my primary person for like 4 years. And I looked at it and said 96% of investors fail in the first year. So I could focus on the 4% that actually make it, or I could focus on the 96% that are going to fail out. And so I focused on the 96%. How do we take all of these and help them win? Well, I went to Facebook and searched wholesaling real estate, and it brings up a bunch of groups that are already there. And then I look for the ones that have the biggest audiences. So if you go to Facebook and search wholesale real estate, it'll bring up a bunch of groups and it shows you how many members they have. So there's going to be a lot of groups that have like 1,200 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, etc. And then under how many people are in it, it tells you, what is it? I think it says posts daily or activity daily, something like that. I don't know the exact wording, but it's basically, it tells you how interactive the group is. If it says there's 100,000 people and there's one post daily, that 100,000 people in there aren't really doing anything. They're not paying attention. But if it says there's 100,000 people in there and there's 40 posts daily, they're like, okay, there's some activity in there, right? Same thing could be if there's only 100 people. If there's 100 people in that group and it's like 0 posts daily, nobody's doing anything. But there could be 100 people in that group and there could be 150 posts daily because people are just actively going like crazy and talking. That's a good community to join because you want to join the community where there's a bunch of people that are your ideal client interested in what you're selling, right? And they're being active in the group. So you would just search for groups and then start looking at them, which ones are active and which ones have a lot of people. And then you request to join the group. Now, you're not there to spam the group and sell your thing. Your Facebook profile, remember, is set up to where the header image says, this is who I help, right? I help women in their 40s and 50s get up off the couch and live a healthy lifestyle. Click here to learn more, and it goes to your website, right? Where it tells them about the community and allows them to put in their payment and join your community. So the customer journey for you would actually start in someone else's Facebook group, right? Like you could go to join this other person's Facebook group and you're going to go in there and you just scroll the timeline and you look for people who are asking questions.
Okay.
Anybody asks a question, don't take them to DMs. Don't try to sell them something. Don't try to send them a free resource. Don't do any of that. Just go right in the comments. Just click comment right there on their post and answer their question in extreme detail. Just give it to them. Tell them exactly how to do what it is that they asked how to do. Because people are used to asking a question and getting a bunch of stupid answers or answers that they don't agree with. And then they're also used to a bunch of people going, I sent you a DM. Here's my free thing. Book a call. It's like just answer their question in extreme detail and you will immediately be more valuable and interesting to that person than anybody else there. And as soon as you strike somebody's curiosity, what do? They're going to creep your profile because we go, Lori's just answering people's questions. She seems to know what she's talking about. She never asks for anything. It's weird. Who is this lady? They'll click on your name, which takes them to your personal profile in Facebook. or they'll
Okay.
click on your picture, which takes to your personal profile. They have started the customer journey. They asked a question, you answered it, they were curious, clicked on your name, went to your profile, and now your profile is like, this is who I am and what I do. Click here to learn more, and it sends them to your community page where they can actually learn more about your community, put in their credit card. It charges their card, triggers automation, and sends them to your private group where they can access the weekly coaching calls like Freedom Fridays, because now they're a paid member of your community, right? That's your customer journey. And that's what you need to review every single week, every single day. I do this. I add value in Facebook groups where my clients are hanging out. People who are interested create my profile and then follow the links to my sign up page for my community, where it takes their payment, triggers automation. They show up in my group. I host the weekly coaching calls and I get to know them through the calls, and I upsell one-on-one coaching on those weekly calls in my $25 a month community.
Okay.
See, like that's the customer journey. It starts with you interacting on the front side and ends with one-on-one coaching through all these other steps.
Okay.
But you have to remember those steps, because if you meet somebody in the middle, right? Somebody just reaches out to you inside the paid community and they go, you're not pitching coaching or anything else, but they've paid $25 and they're paying it every month and they're not showing up on any of your live calls. And then they shoot you a Facebook message and they're like, hey, Lori, I love the calls. I've been listening, or I've been doing this or catching the replays. I haven't been able to join live, but I was just wondering, how do I get more time with you? You have to be able to go, oh, they're in the community. They're asking about next step of the customer journey's one-on-one coaching or the group package or whatever it is that you're selling past that, right? If there
Okay.
is nothing else and you just want to book time with them, then book time with them, right? But ultimately, if you figure out your customer journey, then you're able to grab people wherever they're at, right? So let's say
Okay.
somebody sends you a Facebook message and they're not in your paid community, but they send you a Facebook message and they're like, hey, Lori, I saw you in one of the groups and I just wanted to connect. You have to be able to look at your customer journey and go, okay, where are they in the process? I've been
Okay.
interacting in Facebook groups. This person just creeped my profile and sought me out and sent me a Facebook message, right? So there, I like to collect information in that conversation. If I
Okay.
check and they're not in my, they haven't bought anything from me, they haven't opted in, I don't have their information in Scalability, this is how you're building that list. You're creating the curiosity on Facebook groups and you're creating Facebook Messenger interactions. And I like to tell people, I just say, hey, I've actually been kicked off of Facebook before. So I'm going to give you my phone number and my email address. That way you have it to where if I get kicked off here again, you can just shoot me a text message. Is that cool? And they'll be like, yeah, send them your Scalability number and your business email right there in Facebook Messenger. And then
Okay.
just say, hey, shoot me a message real quick so I got your number. Or, hey, do you mind if I get your phone number and I'll shoot you a text real quick? Anybody who comes to Messenger with you, you simply say, hey, we could get kicked off of Facebook anytime. You mind if I grab your number? I'll shoot you a text so you got mine. Be a person talking to people.
Okay.
And then you've got a name, phone number, email from them in Messenger, and you have to manually enter that into Scalability and then tag them Facebook group, like
Okay.
where they came from. That way you always know these people came from Facebook.
Okay.
And if you know the group, so I like to have a conversation with people and be like, honestly, I'm in a lot of groups. Which one are you in? Which one are we in together? And they'll be like, oh, I saw you answer so-and-so's question in this group. I'll use that group. I'll go to that Facebook group and I'll copy the whole URL and then I'll paste that in like the source for that person in Scalability, where they came from. Because later you could look at it, and if you have say 100 people join your paid community, and you could go back and you could look at them and be like, when did they join? How long did I know them? Did we text and email for months or days before they joined? How long was that? Where did they come from? They came from this group. Oh, wow. you start looking at where everybody came from, you might find out that 75 of those people out of the 100 that joined all came from the same Facebook group, which would mean you would want to spend more time in that group, interacting in that group than other groups.
Okay.
Because it's more beneficial to you to spend more time there giving value, because more people are actively creeping you from the group and turning into paid clients.
Okay.
That makes sense. Does that make sense how you guys could all use that in your different businesses? You kind of see it.
That makes
And
sense.
this is something I actually used to teach this on a 5-day challenge, and I would use it to fill the challenge. So I would go to other people's groups. I would set up my personal profile to run people to the sign up page for the challenge. I would go to other people's wholesaling groups. I would answer questions, comment, interact, add friends, just be helpful and just be funny and just interact with people. And I would answer in extreme detail. When everybody else was trying to sell stuff, I would just answer their questions in extreme detail. People would creep me to my profile and go sign up for my challenge. I'd show up live on the 5-day challenge and I'd be like, I'm going to teach you guys how to generate leads on Facebook for free, which is how most of you actually got here. So you're going to laugh when you learn it. And it was so funny because I'd start teaching this and I'd be like, be honest, how many of you here are here because we interacted in a Facebook group and you creeped my profile? And I'd start to see these little smiley faces in the chat like, that's me. That's hilarious. You got me. I'm like, that's funny. Because then I would teach them just like this. This is how you do it as well. And I know guys doing $1 million a year off their Facebook profile with this exact thing. It works, and it's worked for a long time. What's cool is it will work anywhere. So if your people are on LinkedIn, Larry, then you could do the same thing on LinkedIn. You add value there. You connect with people in other people's groups, answer question in other people's groups. If your profile says, this is what I do in a clear way and gives them an action, one action, click this link to learn more. Click this link to grab your free cash flow audit. Right, Larry, that's what you would want to do. Lori, yours would be join my community. Click here, right? Because that's telling them, hey, I help women do this, and there is a community you can join. Click here. Then it takes them to the sales page. And this process works. It's a good process. You can make a lot of money with it. You were asking about lead generation. As you can see, this is a way of generating leads, and it's going to be slower than just going to a public data place and pulling a list of 10,000 people and uploading them. But your leads are going to be better because these people you've answered a question and provided value to these people. They went out of their way to check out your profile and then opt in for your thing or start a message with you. Okay. And some people, you'll answer their question right in the comments and they'll ask another question, or they'll be like, this was so valuable. Thank you so much. Interact with them right there. But then don't be afraid to start a conversation with them later. Shoot them a friend request. Like, you don't even have to send anything else. If they said thanks and you answered their question, send them a friend request. Because you want to start adding friends who are who you're answering questions for and who are in those groups that are your ideal customer. On LinkedIn, you'd add connections, send them a connection request, answer a question somewhere. They're not going to deny that request when you've already answered a question that they had. They might just follow up with more questions. And this is where I say I don't really set goals for the next 12 months. I don't like the reset because this is who we are and this is what we do. And if you decide this is my process and this is how we do it and this is what we do and who we help and how and why and all that, and you say this is what we do, I've ran this process for over 6 years now. And I had one lady who sent me messages and asked questions for 3 years before she bought anything. And then from that point, that was the first time she bought anything, was after 3 years of asking questions. It's like, this is not a get rich quick. Other people bought faster, right? But what I'm saying is, if you do your part of following up and just having conversations with people, answer people's questions, but let them know what you do and give them opportunities to join. It took her 3 years before she hired me as a coach And then from that point on, she'd spent over $30,000, came to a live event with me. Like everything I did was awesome. She's a diehard. She's like, everything you do is great. But it took her 3 years to get to that point. So if you set a 12-month goal and then you give up on it because it's not working, there's a lot of money that gets lost over time, right? If you just say, this is what I do, and you make it consistent every day, every week, every month, I just do this thing. And I look at the last week, how do we make it better? This is where people are coming from. How do I spend more time there? Right? That's how you'll start to really build that list and then focus on following up with that list. But two, when you get that list and those people start coming in, if you go straight to selling the whole time, then they opt out or they unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get those contacts and you add them to Scalability, when you write your marketing emails, just be a person talking to a person again. Right. Because they're gonna be like, oh, I started a conversation with Lori out of this Facebook group, and she's been answering my questions and been very helpful. But she only messages me now. It's always just sales stuff. And they'll recognize the automation in the sale, right? Whereas if your emails are, hey, the community is really taken off. I'm excited to get to know all of you in there. If you haven't joined already, feel free to check this out. If not, no worries. Just shoot me a message if you got a question. So you might be thinking, well, I'm going to end up answering a bunch of questions every day, all day for free and interacting with people. It's like, so the lady I said who took 3 years, I made her wait anywhere from 3 to 6 days before I would answer her question. Because you still have to create an authority in the space, right? If I charge $5,000, $7,500 for coaching, but I'll answer every question you have as soon as you ask it immediately all the time, there is no value in buying my coaching. I can just ask you for free and you'll do it. So when I say follow up and keep conversations going, yes, but it is not catering to, oh, 15 people sent me a message. I need to respond within 5 minutes. No, you don't. And I would say don't intentionally. And when you do respond, I would make people wait 3 days, 4 days, 6 days, 8 days, sometimes weeks. And when I would say like, hey, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. Just so you know, I prioritize God, my family, then my paid coaching clients, and then my give back time. So sometimes it might take me a while to get back to you, but I'll try to get back to you as much as I can. But just so you know, it's like, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just doing things in that order. And when I have the extra time is when I respond to things for free. I would say that. That's when I have time to respond to things for free, is after I've taken care of all of the things. You're kind of saying all of these paid things are more important to you without saying they're more important than you. But they get that and they go, okay, that makes sense. He wouldn't make much money if he just played online. And the right people will then hang around, keep asking questions. The wrong people who are never going to buy anything anyway, they'll just get annoyed and leave. And they'll go try to track somebody else down that'll answer their questions. And that's okay, because you'll end up with the right people who are there and actually want to learn and respect and value the fact that you have some knowledge that they could learn from.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. Yep. Thank you.
Now, the way you scaled it. Everybody goes, well, how do we scale these interactions? If you have those Facebook groups, you're going to add value to the group and be active in the group. But then you can also start reaching out to the owner of the group. Try to make a connection with the owner of the group. Because if you say you join like a 10,000 person Facebook group, you can interact with people and have a bunch of conversations, and certain people will creep your profile and end up being in your list, and you'll start conversations, you'll get leads and things out of it. But there's a big difference if you work out a relationship with the person who owns the group, and then you do a Facebook Live in the group where the owner of the group is interviewing you and saying how cool you are and talking about what you do to those 10,000 people. Now, everybody in the group, you have elevated your authority to the guy who owns this 10,000 person group or the lady that owns this group is saying Lori's awesome. And then more people in that group are like, oh, Lori's awesome, just because they know the person that started the group. And so now they know you too. So getting connections out of the group, adding value to the group will start to kind of give you more clout in there. But then you can start reaching out to who has my audience and start making those connections too. Those are going to be harder to get, so they'll take longer. So you want to do both. But these are free ways to start really leveraging other people's communities, because a lot of people think immediately they need to start their own community, and it's a long, hard journey too. Every single process is going to take long time and consistency when it's organic. The consistency is usually the hardest part. So whichever way you commit to it, if you started your own group, you're going to build it up slow. Like one person joined last month. 3 people joined the next month. Like, this kind of sucks. I'm doing all this work for 4 people. You could go straight to somebody's group who's been there for 5 years and has 10,000 people in it immediately just by joining. So I'm a fan of fastest way to money, leveraging other people's networks. I made a connection this week with a guy who's got 380,000 people on a list that he's built over the past 16 years. So now if I add value to him, I get access to 380,000 people on a list without having to spend the 16 years building a 380,000 person list. It's still organic. It still is building a relationship and adding value, but the audience is bigger, right? So this is perfectly scalable. You just scale up the relationships that you're making. That whole your net worth is determined by your network thing, it's a real thing. Does everybody see how they could use this in your own business or have any questions about it? That strike any curious questions? Nope, everybody's got it figured out. Sweet. I like it. Until next week. That's the way it always is. No, I got it. I do the same thing. The next week I'll be like, it didn't work.
It was great. I have a lot of questions in my head, but they're not being verbalized yet. I can't.
Not sure how to get them out yet.
I don't know how to get them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start there.
Okay. You'll learn a lot by just starting to do it.
Yeah.
So I know all of you on here, you're not spammers and scammers. So you're not going to go in and spam people. But I know that's the fear in your mind. Is like, well, I don't want to spam people, or I don't want to bait and switch people. That's what everybody thinks. And that's why I'm like, don't sell. Just don't sell anything. Go in and just add value. Answer people's questions. If you're a coach of any kind, and a lot of just kingdom-minded people, whether they're a coach or not, they have a tendency, like, we want to help people. It's like, and then we can't figure out how to make money along the way. It's like, well, understand that you can help people and it should lead to you making money along the way. So we don't have to be afraid to sell your thing later because you added value up front. And you don't have to keep adding value for the next 12 years of coaching for free just because you did it in the beginning. I can answer a question and never talk to the person again. And I feel fine about the interaction because I gave and I didn't get anything. I'm like, that's okay. If I give and then I sell something, I'm not going to feel bad about that either. They obviously liked what they got. It was helpful. And now I'm going to help them even more. Right? And that's exactly what all of you are going to do. So give in those groups and you won't feel bad selling at all. And understand it's just the pay that you get for giving so much on the front side. That'll help keep you going. And then, like I said, make sure you guys put it on your calendars. This is what I'm doing for the next 12 months and commit to it for the next 12 months of every day. So Lori, for you, a process. Every day I'm going to spend 30 minutes or I'm going to spend 1 hour every day where I go to Facebook. I search for Facebook groups that would have my ideal client. I join those groups and I interact in those groups for just 1 hour. Block out an hour once a day for lead generation. Recognize that you have real businesses and this is your lead generation, your marketing to get clients. Not just because you're wasting time on social, You just want to be seen in those groups over and over and over. Same groups. Don't do different groups every day. Okay, so if you join, say, 3 groups today and 5 groups tomorrow and 2 groups the next day and 1 group the next and then 10 groups the next day, at some point you start interacting in those groups, the same groups. So if you go in, you answer questions in these 3 groups, and then you add 2 more groups the next day, go in and just scroll through those groups and answer a few questions, go to the next group, answer a few questions, go to the next group, answer a few questions, go to the next group. Make sure you're being seen regularly in those spaces. That's what you want. The more people see you, the more they trust you. And so the ways you can interact in there is adding friends from there. You can literally hover your mouse over somebody's name and it'll pull up a thing and it says message or friend. And you can just like click add a friend. Do not do those like add friend, add friend, add friend, add friend, add friend. Don't go down the list and just add a bunch of friends. The algorithm will say, you're a robot, and it'll block you. A normal person interacting on a social platform would go to a group, would scroll the timeline and go, oh, that one caught my eye. You'd read it. You might comment. You might give it a like. And then you'd scroll on and you'd see somebody else be like, oh, I know that person. And you'd send them a friend request. And then you'd see something else and you'd like it. Like that's how a person scrolls through, right? So do that in other people's groups. Scroll through, read some posts, answer a question, like the comments on it, scroll down, like comments, add a friend, scroll down, read one, pause on it, read it, add a friend, and just do that each day in the groups, because everybody in the group starts to see, oh, Lori liked your post. Lori liked your comment. Lori liked your post. Lori liked your comment. Lori liked your comment. Lori sent you a friend request. Lori answered your question. And people see that and they're like, Lori's liking everything. Lori posts funny GIFs when everybody else is just going, congrats. That was something I like to do. Somebody posted a deal. They got their first deal and they made a 10K check and everybody puts, congratulations, congratulations. That's awesome. Good job. I would post a GIF of somebody like, because when they're scrolling down through the comments, they're going to see text, 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 GIF. And be like, who's that guy? That's funny. And your name stands out in all the comments. And so then they see Aaron comments, oh, he's kind of funny. And then Aaron answered this question. Wow, that's a really in-depth answer. All of that stuff makes you stand out in there, right? So be active, post GIFs, be funny, answer people's questions, just interact, be a person, and add friends out of the group. When you do that, it will compound over time. And like I said, you get them into Messenger, pull the information, have conversations, add them as lead, follow up through text and email.
Great. That's great. That's my process this week. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on that this week, and then I'll probably have more questions next week.
That's right. That's all right. That's why we do it every week. That's a good thing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And what's up? Anything I can do to help you? I know I just talked to you, but since you're here, I'm going to ask.
Hey, I'm Annie. I go by Annie McCleary actually in the real estate world, just because there's a long story behind that. I actually help people out of their situations by buying their houses. I also help other investors and joint venture with them and getting their properties sold. A lot of them in small towns because it's kind of my niche. Yeah, I would attest to Aaron's going into the groups. I have actually been doing that because I can also help other investors that are new into the real estate world, and actually have done that where I have gone into the groups and I have commented and given value, and I have been told multiple times that's like, thank you, and that's amazing value given. And I've had plenty of people actually reach out to me on the Facebook, my messenger. So just asking me those questions, and I do the same thing like Aaron, because I've known Aaron for a long time and had him as my coach. So, but yeah, so I can attest to that for sure. I actually do all of my marketing is organic. I have tried the whole paid thing and it just doesn't work. So right now for me, I know it works for other people, but just organic gets me to where I need to go. And and gets me what I need. So, but yeah, and then the system has helped me in terms of, because I do my business 100%. So I'm home with my girls too when they're home from school. And so it kind of runs in the background for me for my monthly follow-ups. So I'm able to follow up with people because I have to use the system and the automations, and it goes in there and follows up. And then I just check it when I need to, if somebody's messaged back, call people when I need to. So yeah.
So Anne has actually been around for a long time, but what's funny is Anne actually came through this process because
But
she
he
was in
saw
one
me
of my
laughing. That's
challenges.
why. I was like,
Exactly.
oh,
I was
yeah.
waiting for you to say it because I was like, Anne will think this is hilarious because Anne's been around for like 4 years. And so
Yeah.
Anne actually came into a free challenge because I was in somebody else's Facebook group adding value. She ended up creeping my profile, came to the challenge, ended up coaching client. Now she's a friend. She ended up being a coach with me in a program that we had a year and a half or so ago
Mhm.
and was adding value. She was the first one to hit the 100K club, and which actually like Anne just does the thing. You tell her what to do, she's consistent and does the thing. So
I actually have it. I was going to show you all. Sorry. It'll show. Hang on. Hang on. I gotta grab my stuff. I have stuff stacked here for my purposes. My baptism's at the top. Sorry, that's more important. So, as we say, but I'll get it out in a little bit. But with that, when he says, "I'm not the 3-year gal," just so you know that was somebody else.
no, Anne
I
was with
signed.
her.
I signed up for it as soon as it's. I'm like, I'm gonna point that out there. Definitely not the 3-year gal, but I went through his 5 day, and yes, I did come from like exactly what he said. And I did the 5 day. I couldn't keep up with the 5 day. This is actually in a hybrid season when we were coming back from COVID. My girls were going to school. I was also homeschooling them because that's the way the school wanted it. And I was trying to run my business. And so when I saw his 5 day, I was like, I can't even keep up with this. And then so it's like, wanted to meet with him. I met with him, and then I made the decision like, am I going to do this or not do this? Am I going to quit this or not quit this? And I was like, and realized like, no, I want to keep going because Aaron helped me realize how to put business into my family. And I was actually doing it the opposite. I was trying to put everything into my business time frame, and that's not the way that I wanted it to run. So he definitely helped me with that. And we started out with some different way of doing our CRM, and then I kept like complaining and wanting automations and stuff. So then he started the CRM, and I was like, yes, finally. So had everything in one place. That was really nice as well. So to have one password, just a few others, and that's it. So made my life even easier, I guess.
So Anne, like I said, is one who's good about, she just learns the thing and does the thing.
Mhm.
Just consistent. Doesn't mean she's been like good about it or liked it the whole time. She's just like all of us. She's went like this, but she's always like come back to the thing. Okay.
Yep.
So the reason I bring this up is because we're all moving into 2025, and like the people that are on this call now, I know all of your businesses, and you have a process. Working the process over and over and over, the same boring thing is going to be the only thing that keeps you from getting there. That's it. Is telling people the exact same thing over and over and over, having the exact same conversations over and over and over for long enough for people to go, you're the guy, you're the girl for the thing,
Mhm.
right? And that's the hardest thing for people. So I point out that Anne's been around for a while, not to be like, oh, it works. But I'm going to say, Anne, what would you think is the reason, right, that you were able to get the 100K club and actually move forward on those things? What would be the thing you feel like was that's kind of helped you stick with the message along the way?
Consistent, mundane, daily tasks. I guess that's not the word to use,
I
but
always tell everybody, I'm
um,
like, it's the unsexy truth. It's just, it's boring,
um,
but you have to do it.
it's the same. It's that same. It actually complements the saying, like doing the things that other people aren't willing to do, the things that other people don't like to do. And, eventually, you're going to get to a point where, yeah, you can hire someone to plug into that spot of what you don't like to do. But it's definitely consistency. I'm not, like you said, have been up and down, but I have been very consistent and back to my organic marketing for my business of real estate investing. And when I buy properties, I organically do it in Facebook. That's where my clientele is. And I do it every day. My mind goes into, your mind will go to that logical sense of, are they really reading it? Or should you be doing this? Things like that. And you got to go back to, this is my business process. If I don't do this, I don't get this. So I literally tell them, and that's how I have gotten, a lot of my properties last year was all through my Facebook organic marketing. I don't know how many I have to check. People ask how many I've done. I was like, I don't know, lost track. And also networking. I'm always following up with other investors. Hey, how are you doing today? Got any deals you need help with? So it's the same aspect for you guys. Like if I have somebody reach out from Facebook that I gave value to, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? How is your, like for me, it's real estate. So, have you got any deals done? How's the process working? Where are you at? Are you stuck? Taking action is another huge thing I will say. If you don't take that next step, you're going to be in analysis paralysis, and that one step's gonna, jump you forward. And also create in your mind a fact. He's very big on facts, and he will keep going back there. What are the facts, Ann? So the fact, your mind is looking for facts. It's actually, I read it in Atomic Habits. If you're saying like, I'm a writer, I believe that's MJ. She's a writer. So our mind looks for proof. And as you're writing, you're like, yeah, I wrote a sentence yesterday. I am a writer. Like, it's just something that, your mind needs to see. Lori, I am, what you do, you're like, sorry, forgot, but when you're posting, you're like, I am posting, or I made those posts yesterday. You can go back and be like, yeah, I did those posts. You're proving to your mind. So when your mind tells you like, should you be doing this today? And you're like, yes, because it happened yesterday and I got somebody yesterday. So same with networking. Aaron's reminded me that you can, once you've done it before, so your mind has to look for the proof. You've done it before, you can do it again. So.
Yep. We actually just had that conversation yesterday, didn't we? Even after years, we got to remind ourselves, we got to go back. So like the whole, when she's saying taking the action, if you understand your customer journey and the process, the strategy of what you're doing, then it's just reminding yourself to do the same things over and over, right? The hardest part is showing up every day and commenting and interacting in Facebook groups, because you're going to feel like I'm answering a bunch of questions, doing a lot of work, and you'll convince yourself you're doing a lot of work. But answering questions for 1 hour a day as you're marketing to make hundreds, thousands of dollars on a client down the road is a really good trade-off, because it's free to go for an hour and add value to people to potentially make money out of it. And we've made hundreds of thousands of dollars through this exact same, like, just Facebook process. And if you're like, I realize I just threw out, she hit the 100K club. That actually, at the time, the 100K club meant you made $100,000 net profit in 12 months doing the thing. So it wasn't like, we just ran a bunch of money through the thing. There was an actual, it worked, and she got to a process, a result.
And
right?
I will say, out of giving value, because there is one investor that with the follow-up, like when you're following up, I actually had a few investors last year sign some mentor agreements with me because of the value they given. So something for you, Lori, when you're doing that kind of trying to help people, like it's going to happen. You do follow the process. And then the follow-up as well, because I actually worked with an investor last year, and towards the end of the year, we made $27,000 off of 2 properties. and helping people get out of their situation. And so by following up with him, we keep our follow-up, we keep our communication. Hey, how are you doing today? Have you got any deals? Or if it's a week later, like we're not like in working with for me in partnership with the investors, it's not where we get mad at each other because we haven't seen each other. I've actually talked to some of my partners and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry I haven't messaged you. And I was like, oh, I felt bad because I didn't message you. And then we're right back to where we started. How's your year doing? Where are you at in buying deals, or what are you looking for? So it's just a matter of, communication, but it doesn't have to be, like Aaron said, on the regular basis of giving free value. So, because I have them coming back, I have the investors messaging me again, and I'm like, oh, and I answer it. And then they know, like I've told them the same thing. God's first, family's next, my business actually is next, and then business and with my real estate business and paying clients is kind of the same thing. So, and that's what I tell them. So,
Yep.
Same here.
And I have a saying that I live by that I actually got from our pastor at our church, but he said, we give honor because we are honorable, not because the person deserves honor. And like, that's something that resonated with the way that I did things. And I was like, I really like that. And I made that something that I think about on a regular basis. Anytime somebody wrongs me or I message and they don't message back, I'm like, I give honor to them, and I do this because it's who I am. Right? I follow up with people because that's who I am. I do good follow up. It doesn't depend on whether they respond or even whether they respond positively. It's because I'm good at my business. I respond, I follow up, I go out of my way to try to help people win, period. No matter how you treat me, until you say, leave me alone, and you cut me off, then I'm like, okay, they don't want it. Until then, you can even be rude to me, and I'm going to respond with, how do I help you win? Because I give honor because I'm honorable, not because they deserve it. And so you guys need to think about this in your businesses. I do this follow up because I'm good at follow up, and it's important for me to have a good business. If God's important to you, like it is to me, then for me, it's like God gave me this business. So I'm going to do it well, no matter what any of my clients treat me like, because I'm doing it for God. I do it because I'm good at it for my God, not because they respond, not because I got a certain number of clients off of it, not because they responded to my text, so now I'm going to text them back. I've done business online for over 6 years now, and there's been only a handful, actually. There's been about a handful of people that have tried to run me off. And I'm like, and it's funny because they were the higher paying coaching clients. And my response was, hey, I wouldn't be much of a coach if I just allowed you to tick me off and leave. It's like, so reminder, I'm on your team. When you're done being ticked off, we have this many calls left. I'm expecting a schedule from you back on my calendar when you're done with whatever you're doing. But I'm on your team. I'm here to help you win. I'm not going anywhere. And they're like, screw you. I want my money back. And I'm like, I'm on your team. I'm not going anywhere. Every single one of them has come back and they apologize. And they're like, man, it's nice having somebody in my corner. And, we've worked through it. But it's very easy in business or life or anything to look at it and go, I send all these messages, nobody responds. I do all of this and nobody does this, right? I do all of this and nobody does it back. I'm nice to people and they were mean to me, so I don't want to. And it's like, no, be who you are because that's who you are. I give honor because I'm honorable, right? Just like we forgive people to set ourselves free. Like, be who you are, be consistent with it, and it will come around. It always does. I've had an assistant working with me, and he's watched a couple of people get mad at me and like start talking crap through text messages. And I just think it's the funniest thing because I looked at him. He was Hoel. He was 19 years old. And I looked at him, I go through and read every one of those messages. And he's like, geez. And I'm like, pay attention and read every one of my responses and then just wait and watch. And every single one of them, you give them about a month and a half, every single one of them comes back around and they'll apologize or they'll whatever, and I'll show grace because it's who I am and it's what we do. We're the hands and feet of Christ, period. It's who we are. And so he's been able to learn from that. It's like so many people turn and run from anything that's tough. Don't. Be who you are. Stick with your process. This is who I help. This is how I help them. Show up and do the thing. Interact in the groups. Every single time I've ran ads, people are like in the comments, there's haters and everything else. Other people who know me have stood up for me in every one of those ads. People are like, I'll give you $100, just turn the ads off. Spam, scam. And I'll have other people jump in and be like, I know him, he's not. And there's like arguments in the comments. Be who you are. Commit to your process. It will work, but consistency is going to be the hardest thing. And that's why I do these every Friday, right? It's because I want you to be able to have a place where you can come back on Fridays and it's not just the tech support, right? That helps you fix the software problem. That's what tech support's for. Friday is, Aaron, I'm all over the place. I'm shiny object. I don't know what my process is. And if I know your process, like everybody here, I know all your processes. So everybody here, I'm going to be like, you're doing this. You're running them to that. Quit talking about the other things. And then they're going to happen here. This is going to happen here. Do you know where that is? And I'm going to help you get it. Because I know your processes, and that's the coaching side of me, is everything's just consistency over time. And it takes a long time. But I know you guys can do it. Or I just let you leave. Oh, she found it.
Yes, I had it. It was just kind of blocked by my daughter's Valentine's box. So a little bit by the wing. But
Yep.
yes, that is what I got for that. Thank you, Aaron. Kind of reminds me every day, guys. Like that's a reminder. I have it set out because it reminds me that you can do it again. Like I said, our logical sense of our brain will do that. And same thing as from what I heard with people like Aaron said, commenting the way they are on your comments, your posts and stuff. You can always hide them and you can always block them.
That's right.
So
does that strike any questions or comments from you guys?
It's good. Good comments. Thank you.
Welcome.
Great.
MJ, are you still there? Is there anything I can do to serve you? I want to make sure I don't just leave you hanging.
No, quiet little mouse. Nope, just listening, gleaning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got to at least call you out and make sure you're not, I'm not missing you.
Mm.
My
Well.
challenge for you guys for this week would be to figure out that process. We've kind of went over all of them for you guys anyway, right here, right? If you're catching the replay, do it in the comments. That's fine. If you're on YouTube, I don't care if you're a subscriber or not. Do this. Go through your business and say, I am doing this to get clients to this page. So Lori, I'm going to interact in Facebook groups that belong to other people. I'm going to add value, add friends, like, comments, and I'm going to, so that they'll create my profile, which directs them to join my community, which triggers my automation and sends them into my Facebook group where I do weekly calls. And then I'm going to upsell my live event or my one-on-one coaching or whatever from there. Larry, I'm going to be interacting on LinkedIn and personal interactions, everything else. I'm going to share this website to grab their free cash flow audit that books them to my calendar where I show up through Zoom or give them a call, whichever one. We can dial in those details, Larry. But I show up to Zoom, I have that call, and I do this on that call. And then I offer to sell them the one-on-one services or join my program. And they join my program and I deliver it through Zoom calls over 3 months, once a week. And then from there, if there's the next step, MJ, I'm interacting here, doing live book readings, whatever it is. But at all of these things, wherever they are, I send people to this page to buy the book. When somebody puts in their card and buys the book, triggers the automation, then I mail the book or I order the book through Amazon and send it directly out from Amazon to the customer, right? Like that's the customer journey. I would challenge you guys to write that out. This is what I'm doing, and it goes to this, to this, to this, to this. Post it in the Facebook group. because it's putting it out there and you're practicing. And when you have to write it down, then you can read it. And as you start working it, you can look at it and go, oh, well, here's what happens at this part. There's actually a piece in between there, and like put it in there, because it's just going to make it's going to make it easier for you guys to remember exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, so you can consistently do it over and over and over. So I would challenge you guys this week, make that list of this is the customer journey. This is exactly what I'm doing. Post it in the Facebook group so where we've got some accountability moving into 2025. Cool?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thanks for showing up and giving me an hour of your time, everybody. I hope it was worth your time.
Yes.
I'm excited going into 2025 for what we're doing and what you guys are all going to do.
It's gonna be
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
everybody.
Have a good weekend, guys.
You too. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.